we are going to talk about depression. But we are not just going to talk about the clinical definition. We are going to talk about how it feels, how it sneaks into our lives, and most importantly, how we can gently begin to lift the fog. You know, there is often a misconception that depression is simply extreme sadness. We grow up thinking that if we are not crying, we cannot possibly be depressed. But the reality is far more complex. Depression is a shapeshifter. When does it creep into your life? You never really know. For some, like the stories shared in our community, it begins as early as middle school. As a preteen, you naturally might not be able to tell how your mind is working differently from others. You might confuse depression with sadness because you haven't learned the difference yet. In fact, it might take years, perhaps, until your late 20s to realize they are truly separate experiences. You can spend a week unable to leave the house, paralyzed by an invisible force, even while being in a relatively decent mood. That is the tricky nature of this beast. It is not always about tears. Sometimes it is about lethargy, emptiness, and a profound lack of momentum. If you look back at your own timeline, you might see the signs. Maybe during your school years, you felt like the shy kid, the one on the outside looking in. Maybe you expressed your pain through drawings, writings, or even silence. There is often a degradation of emotional stability that happens slowly. It might start with withdrawing from friends, spending hours in your room playing video games or watching television, not because you enjoy it, but because it is a way to turn off your brain. It is a way to escape. And slowly, the hobbies you used to love, maybe collage or painting or hiking, start to fade away. You stop experimenting with life. The lowest moments often come when we feel we have lost control. Rock bottom is a term we hear a lot, but in reality, rock bottom moves. Over time, as you learn to manage your mental health, your rock bottom becomes a little higher than before, and your good days become actual good days, not just days where you feel normal or okay. But getting there is a journey. It is a zigzagging line, much like a stock market chart for a tumultuous company that is slowly, steadily trending upward. Let us talk about what this actually feels like in the body, because depression is a physical experience just as much as a mental one. First, there is the exhaustion. Have you ever stayed up far too late and woke up feeling absolutely awful? Imagine feeling that way every single day, regardless of how many hours of sleep you got. You wake up drained. This lack of energy makes it incredibly hard to get out of bed and perform daily tasks that seem automatic to people without depression. Brushing your teeth, making coffee, taking a shower, these feel like climbing Mount Everest. It is an invisible weight that you drag with you everywhere you go. Then there is the lack of joy. This is known as anhedonia. Imagine trying to pay attention in a class you hate. Time moves slowly, and you are just counting the minutes. Now, Imagine feeling that way about your entire life. The things that used to light you up, music, food, friends, now leave you feeling nothing. It is like the color has been drained out of the world, leaving everything in shades of gray. You might also struggle with low self-esteem. We all compare ourselves to others occasionally, especially with social media. But with depression, this comparison turns toxic. You do not just think others are prettier or more successful. You believe you are a fundamental failure. You think you are failing as a person, a friend, a partner. You see everyone else living happily and assume your struggle is your fault. I want you to hear me clearly right now. Depression is not your fault. It is not a flaw in your character. It is a health condition. Your relationship with food might become complicated. Some of us eat to fill the void, using food as a coping mechanism to distract from the numbness. Others lose their appetite entirely, finding all food unappealing. If you see someone struggling with this, please be gentle. Do not tell them to be grateful for the food. Listen to why they are struggling. And then there is the physical pain. This is something we rarely discuss. Imagine the worst headache you have ever had, or a deep ache in your muscles. Depression can cause chronic pain, inflammation, and a lowered immunity. The mind and body are not separate. They are one system. When your spirit hurts, your body hurts. So, how do we begin to cope? How do we navigate this dark ocean? Research and the stories of survivors give us a roadmap. It is not a straight line, but it is a path. One of the most powerful concepts is called building a sense of mastery. When you are depressed, everything feels impossible. So, we break things down. Instead of saying, I need to clean the entire house, say, I am going to wash 1 cup. Just 1. When you wash that cup, you prove to yourself that you can affect change in your physical reality. You get a tiny spark of accomplishment. That is mastery. Set small, achievable goals. Celebrate the little wins. Did you get out of bed today? That is a win. Did you drink a glass of water? That is a win. These small steps build momentum. Another tool is reducing rumination. Rumination is when your mind gets stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, replaying your mistakes or fears over and over. It is exhausting. One way to interrupt this circuit is through gratitude. I know it sounds cliché, but there is science behind it. When you catch yourself spiraling, stop and identify 3 things, just 3, that you are grateful for right now. It could be the softness of your blanket, the sound of rain outside, or the fact that your heart is beating without you asking it to. This shifts your brain from a problem-focused state to a solution-focused state. We also have to talk about the behavioral theory of depression. This theory suggests that we need to schedule rewards. When we are down, we stop doing things that bring us pleasure, which makes us feel worse, which makes us do even less. It is a cycle. You have to break it by actively scheduling things that act as rewards. Maybe it is 10 minutes of reading a book you love. Maybe it is calling a friend. Put it on your calendar. Treat it like an appointment you cannot miss. Now, I want to pivot to something that often gets overlooked in mental health conversations: your gut. Did you know that your gut health has a massive impact on your mood? There is a superhighway of communication between your stomach and your brain called the vagus nerve. The bacteria living in your gut talk to your brain constantly. This means that what you eat can actually change how you feel. We are not talking about dieting to look a certain way. We are talking about eating to feel a certain way. There are 5 foods you might want to consider avoiding or reducing to help your mental health. Number 1 is fast food. I know, it is convenient and it tastes good in the moment, but studies have shown a link between inflammation and depression. Fast foods are often high in processed ingredients that trigger an immune response in your body, leading to inflammation. This inflammation can affect how your neurotransmitters work, making you more susceptible to low moods. Number 2 is alcohol. It is common to have a drink to unwind, but alcohol is a depressant. It slows down your central nervous system. It can interfere with your brain receptors and disconnect your thoughts from your actions. Long term, it can deplete the chemicals in your brain that you need to feel balanced. Number 3 is excessive salt. While we need some salt, refined table salt can cause high blood pressure and, surprisingly, inflammation that affects blood flow to the brain. Try swapping it for Himalayan salt or using spices to flavor your food instead. Number 4 is refined grains. White bread, white pasta, pastries. These are made from the starchy part of the grain, stripping away the nutrients found in the bran and germ. These refined carbs can cause spikes and crashes in your blood sugar, which mirrors the spikes and crashes in your mood. And number 5 includes artificial sweeteners. Your brain is sensitive. Some studies suggest that certain artificial sweeteners can affect brain development and inflammation. If you have a sweet tooth, try reaching for fruit. The natural sugars in fruit come packaged with fiber and vitamins that your body knows how to process. So, what should we eat? If we are taking things away, we need to add good things in. First, embrace healthy fats. Your brain is largely made of fat. It needs high-quality building blocks. We're talking about omega-3 fatty acids found in salmon, tuna, walnuts, and avocados. These fats help reduce inflammation and protect your brain cells. Second, load up on fruits and vegetables. They are packed with antioxidants. Depression causes oxidative stress in the body. Think of it like rust accumulating on a car. Antioxidants are the rust removers. They help neutralize that stress. Berries, leafy greens, and beets are powerful allies here. Third, look for vitamin B12 and folic acid. These are crucial for the production of serotonin. Serotonin is often called the happy hormone. It stabilizes our mood. Since serotonin is largely produced in the gut, eating foods rich in these vitamins, like eggs, cheese, and bananas, helps your body keep that production line moving. Fourth, eat the whole grain. Remember the bran and the germ we talked about. They contain B vitamins and minerals that protect against depressive symptoms. Quinoa, wild rice, and whole oats are excellent choices. Finally, consider amino acids like tryptophan. You might have heard of tryptophan in relation to turkey, but it is also in tofu, eggs, and red meat. It is a building block for serotonin. You are literally eating the raw materials your brain needs to build happiness. Beyond food and thought patterns, there is the lifestyle of self-care. And I do not mean bubble baths, though those are nice. I mean self-care as a discipline. One of the most effective tools is journaling. It sounds simple, but getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper can be transformative. It forces you to reflect. It creates distance between you and your pain. You might be surprised at the clarity that comes from just 10 minutes of writing. Then there is the power of connection. Depression wants you to isolate. It tells you that you are a burden, that no one understands. You have to fight that voice. Humans are social animals. We need community. Even if it is just sitting in a coffee shop and being around other people, or sending a text to an old friend. Reconnecting helps break the seal of loneliness. Physical activity is non-negotiable. I know it is the last thing you want to do when you are depressed, but exercise releases endorphins, the body's natural painkillers and mood elevators. It does not have to be a marathon. A 20-minute walk outside, feeling the sun on your face and seeing the trees, can shift your chemistry. This is sometimes called green exercise, and it is doubly effective because nature itself has a soothing effect on the nervous system. Have you heard of bibliotherapy? It is a fancy word for healing through reading. There are so many incredible books out there, workbooks, memoirs, guides, that can help you understand what you are going through. Sometimes, reading someone else's story makes us feel less alone in ours. And let us not forget practices like yoga and meditation. These are not just trends. They are ancient technologies for regulating the nervous system. Yoga combines movement with breath, helping to release the physical tension that depression stores in your muscles. Meditation, specifically mindfulness, teaches us to observe our thoughts without being kidnapped by them. It gives us a moment of pause, a tiny gap between the trigger and the reaction where we can choose a different response. My friends, if you are in the thick of it right now, I want you to know something. The most important word in your vocabulary right now is overcome. Not overcame, past tense, as if it is a one-time battle you win and never think about again. But overcome as a verb, a continuous action. Dealing with depression is not a singular act. It is a lifestyle. It is a pattern of good habits, a collection of small decisions you make every day to steer your ship toward the light. Some days, you will have total control of the wheel. You will eat the healthy food. You will do the exercise. You will catch the negative thought. Other days, you might only have the strength to nudge the wheel slightly to the right to keep from crashing. And that is okay. The most important, and often the hardest part, is simply trying. It is the effort to physically get up and do something that will make you feel better, not the thing that gives you a quick burst of dopamine like junk food or frivolous spending, but the thing that actually nourishes your soul. Be patient with yourself. This is a process. It takes time. The brain is neuroplastic. It can change, it can heal, and it can rewire. But it moves at the speed of biology, not the speed of the internet. So, look at your life today. Are there small changes you can make? Can you swap that white bread for whole grain? Can you take a 10-minute walk? Can you write down 3 things you are grateful for? These sound small, but together, they build a ladder out of the pit. And remember, you are not doing this alone. There is a whole community of us here, walking this path with you. Your emotions are valid. Your pain is real. But so is your strength. You have survived 100% of your bad days to get here. You are resilient. If you have a perspective or a story that you think could help someone else know when to see a doctor or a therapist, please share it in the comments. Your story helps others more than you know. We are all teachers, and we are all students in this school of life. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and for taking this time for yourself. You are loved, you are welcomed, and you are worthy of feeling good. Take care of that beautiful mind of yours. Feed your body well, and be gentle with your heart. Until next time, sending you waves of happy aura. Goodbye for now.